What is up, you guys? How's everybody doing out there? Ashley here with AHM Artistry, and in this video I'm going to be testing out the brand new Juvia's Place I Am Magic foundation. Thank you so much to those of you who requested that I do this video. I was finally able to get my hands on it. Congratulations to Juvia's Place for selling out on most of your shades. That is phenomenal. That is so awesome. What an awesome successful launch. So I had to wait until my local Ulta had it in stock, and they were there today, brand new, ready to go. So I picked up my shade that I think is closest to me, and we're gonna test it out. We're gonna see how that coverage is, how the blendability is, and if it will work for my dry skin. I'm kind of normal dry now, but I still lean on the drier side. So we're gonna test that out today. If you wanna see all that, if that all sounds good and dandy to you, then you know what to do. Sit back, hang tight, and keep on watching. We're gonna just dive right into this. I need to get this on my face ASAP so I can start that wear test. So I'll talk a little bit about the product as we go. Now, like I mentioned, I tried to actually order this within a couple days of it launching. I was terrible. I totally forgot that it launched that day, so I missed that, and I was, you know, struggling with the shade matching and everything. So I think I landed on a few different shades that I thought would work good for me, but they were all sold out. So I managed to pick up this shade today, Cairo number 600. It was between a couple different ones, but my Ulta didn't have a lot of the lighter shades for testers, so I had to just go with my gut on this one. This one looked like a nice neutrally toned. Now, Juvia's Place launched this foundation with 42 shades, which is fantastic. It ranges a lot. I saw a lot of different undertones and a huge range full of different skin tones. And only $20 this is, $20. So I just pulled off the little tab that comes on the inside, and this is the packaging right here. I personally love it. Hopefully it's not blending in too much with my background. I love this simplistic, simple, no fuss packaging because it's still beautiful. This shade of orange is so pretty. I'm dying over it. So I can't wait to try that out. I'm gonna prime my face right now. Now, the ingredients had water and dimethicone as the first two ingredients, so I wanted to pair a very similar primer with that. Out of my collection, the Tarte Quench primer is the closest one. Sorry, I only have a little travel guide of that. So I'm gonna prime my face with that because I think it'll pair the best if I'm matching the ingredients as close as possible. I was not able to pick up the concealer because I thought Ulta was gonna get the concealer, and maybe some of them did. My Ulta didn't have it, and online, I mean, you know, we already kind of went there. However, I will say a couple of the girls at Ulta were like, oh, you don't even need a concealer with this foundation. It has amazing coverage. Just use it to spot conceal. So we're gonna try that today, and we're gonna see, because I was excited for that concealer, but Lord knows I don't necessarily need another one. I'm like up to here in concealers. So let's try this. Yeah, I love this squeezy tube. I just love it because I always put the product on the back of my hand or a work surface anyways. If this is amazing, and if I wanted to stock it in my pro kit, that is so lightweight and handy, and I wouldn't have to worry about it breaking or anything. I love that. Oh my goodness, and I forgot to say, because it was at Ulta, this is considered the drugstore side. It's not considered a prestige brand, even though in my head I think it's prestige brand. I literally walked in and started going to the prestige side. I'm like, where's Juvia's Place? I was like, oh yeah, it's over here. But you get to use your coupons on it. So I saved $3.50, so it is $20 that it retails for, but $17.50 is what I got it for, plus some tax, baby, because I live in California and everything is taxed here. How do I want to do this? I'm gonna use my HD blend brush, foundation brush, and this is the second largest size. Is the biggest size. It's too big for my face, and I'm gonna gently dip into this. Let's see how that. Let's see. First of all, let's see the. It might be a little light for me, but you know what? Maybe not. Let's just find out. Whatever. Again, this is the shade 600 Cairo, and let's do a little swatch of that. Wow. That is beautiful. Oh yeah, that's pretty full coverage. Pretty full coverage. Now, what are these claims supposed to be? I believe it claims to be full coverage, radiant, long-lasting, creamy, and comfortable. I like the sound of that. It's supposed to be a second skin creamy foundation and offering smooth application, soft matte finish. Well, I like that. I don't like full crazy matte, but soft matte, velvet matte, those things I'm totally into. but this coverage is pretty good. Wowzers. So I usually cover up my discoloration on my cheeks because I have a lot of it with concealer ahead of time before I put foundation on, but I didn't want to do that today because I wanted to see how much coverage this really gives, and it's looking rather nice, I must say. Woo, let's blend this all out, baby. You see that? You see all that redness and discoloration I have? Ooh, and this color is pretty perfect for me, I'm not gonna lie. That looks like spot on. Yay! Okay, so I figured out my shade through the swatches that they have on Juvia's Place's Instagram and Trend Mood, and then they had descriptions on the Juvia's Place's website, which helped find my undertones. So neutral, golden, pink. I believe this one was a neutral undertone one. Not too pink, not too yellow. It just looked the perfect in between for me. Wow, that really covered that discoloration that I have. All right, I'm gonna switch to the smaller brush that's in my iconic London HD blend brush set. People always ask me what brushes I'm using when I'm using these, so wanted to make sure I mention that. Let's get in between them brows. Ooh, and then right around. Wow. So I definitely think it doesn't look like it's oxidizing yet or anything like that, but it does not adjust, but it does dry down a little bit darker. Like when I first put it on, you see it's like white, not white, but it's very light, and then this is the color that it dries down to. So if you're looking at swatches and you're trying to figure that out, or if you're in stores, let it dry down a little bit and you'll see if the color like kind of changes. I don't think it's oxidizing, I think it's just drying down. Like it's not like a wet finish, but we'll see. Like if foundations like actually oxidize and stuff, it'll start to turn throughout the day, which we'll find out on our wear test if we do that, because we will be doing a wear test, of course. I'm gonna pat it right underneath the eyes and treat it just like a concealer. See how it works, see if it creases or anything like that. And I'm just gonna put a little tiny bit of extra coverage anywhere that I normally would. Like right around the lippies. Okay, I'm gonna take my beauty blender and just tap off any kind of excess, especially because this is a foundation. This kind of foundation is a little bit thicker, so I wanna make sure I don't have any excess product anywhere, or else it will crease, because like, it's gonna happen. And gently press it, because I don't wanna pick up too much. My beauty sponge is just very, 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 very slightly damp. It's not sopping or anything. Okay, so far, so good. Everything's looking nice. Would I use like a specific concealer personally? Personally, if you wanted to like brighten, you know, you could go with a lighter one down there, because it didn't necessarily brighten that area, but it covered up discoloration. So that's good. A lot of my discoloration is covered. I mean, I only have just a couple little freckles peeking through. I don't consider that discoloration, but everybody's different with that. I don't mind seeing a couple freckles, so you'd have to take that what you will, but I had like a little breakout redness situation around here and it covered that completely. So very full coverage. Right now, it has like a radiant finish. It's starting to dry, but it has a tiny itty bitty little stick to it. So I'm gonna go use my setting spray, powder, all my topping products, just finish all my makeup, and I'll list everything in the description box of what I use in case you wanna know what you're pairing it with and stuff. And then we'll see how everything looks and how it applies on top of this foundation. Be right back. All right, I am back and I am up close and personal so you guys can see this foundation and everything for all it's worth right here. That is what everything's looking like. I think it's looking beautiful. It is definitely matte. However, it still has this like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just looking really nice, really full coverage. I cannot wait to see how this wears throughout the day. I'm hoping that it wears really good and it doesn't separate or get cakey. This foundation is kind of thick. It's not like super duper crazy thick, but it has like, you know, a thicker consistency, somewhere in the middle in case you want to see this up close. So like basically a dollop will stay that way. So it's pretty thick. I think you probably need to be cautious of your application tools and what you're using, because I can see how this, any foundation that is thick like this can get a little bit cakey, but I layered it as a concealer and it didn't cake up. It was very nice. I'd be interested to see how it works with a beauty blender. It probably gives you a more medium to full coverage, but I don't know if it would get cakey with a sponge or not. But with a brush, that HD blend brush worked amazing. Everything's looking really nice. I mean, it's crazy. Like even my pores look kind of diffused, and it's not like, I mean, foundation can't shrink pores, but they just aren't accentuated. They look like retreated, which I really, really like too. And just overall, it's just looking nice. Feels really good. I don't feel it on the skin, which is nice. Like just talking and stuff, I don't feel it on the skin. I can't feel it to the touch, and I just very lightly powdered. I didn't even use my setting spray, but I need to, but I'm not going to actually. Let's not use a setting spray and see how this performs without one. Yeah, let's pan over and see how that 8-hour wear test actually went. It's been a little over 8 hours now, and this is what everything is looking like. So I would say it's still pretty full coverage. The coverage didn't wear down. My blush and bronzer still are pretty intact, especially that highlight. My skin is looking quite a bit dewy, And I would say about like after 2 hours, my kind of dewiness kind of adjusted and started looking very glowy, and it wasn't as mattifying as it originally was when I had finished. So I would take note of that. You'll see, I'll try to get a little closer to my light so you can see there's a little bit of that powdery look, kind of almost like a netted look, specifically around my upper lip, chin, and then right around here. My pores still look really good though, oddly enough. Usually if I have that netting situation, my pores look crazy, but that actually looks pretty good. Underneath my eyes, however, though, there is some rolling of the product into the fine lines that I have. I have very, very subtle fine lines, but they are there, and sometimes with thicker products, it can kind of roll into that. That's what happened with this. So for me personally, I'm really liking the overall full coverageness that this I was able to maintain, and it's not that rubbed off. I mean, we're talking 8 hours of like a full day. I had lunch. I just had build your own pizza that we made, so Reese pizza, and we were running around outside, and it was 60 this morning, and I'm not even kidding. By the time I picked my daughter up from school at noon, it was 80 degrees, and we were running around outside, and it was like so hot and sweaty. So considering like how active my day was, this actually held up pretty well. Even though I'm getting this netting kind of powdery situation, it's not nearly as separated as some foundations would be. Do you know what I mean? Like usually if I'm like sweating and really running around, it like really separates. I didn't use a finishing spray or anything like that, so finishing sprays might help with the longevity. I personally think though that this doesn't really work great as a concealer, at least for my skin, especially because under the eyes it rolled up. I think it's a little too thick for a concealer for me, and like layering it up. I think if I use this as a foundation just like I normally would, do a little bit of concealing first if I want to. I mean, I don't have to. It concealed really, really well on the cheeks, but I think I wouldn't go as heavy-handed in this area. I think that's where that netting kind of happened, and then under the eyes, I would just use my regular concealer under the eyes. This area, I guess the nose is starting to look a little bit powdery now. It's taken a while, but it is starting, yeah, it's starting to get that cakey kind of look on the nose. So I guess there's some pros and there's some cons, and I think I'll go back to what I said before. I think it's gonna depend a lot with technique and pairing products that you do. So your primer will depend on how it works, and as well as sponge, different brushes, all of that. So I'll still be playing around with this foundation, definitely. I think that it's very optimistic. There are a lot of things. I love how full coverage it is. Like, I love that. It's just, yeah, I don't think it controls oil or anything like that, because I'm very, very, very dewy, borderline oily. No, I would say, yeah, it's hard. It's not like super, super oily, but anyways, it has a lot of pros, but it has some cons that I think I need to fiddle around with. So I'll continue to test out this foundation, try different ways, and I'll let you guys know, in the coming months of what I like about it, if I like it, if I end up not liking it. After I use it more and I form like a more full opinion, I can update you guys. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that update. But so far, I'm optimistic. I think I just need to tweak it and not use it as a concealer. So there is that. All right, my fam bam, that is it for this foundation review. A special shout out to those of you that actually requested that I review this foundation. I am so glad I was able to get my hands on it and try it out for you guys. Hopefully they give you a little insight of the coverage and the performance and everything like that. If there are any other products out there that you guys want me to try out for you, definitely drop them down in the comments below. Just keep in mind that I am cruelty free, so I can only review products that are cruelty free. And if you are new here and you haven't hit that little red subscribe button yet, well, you might as well go down and do that. I post videos at least 3 times a week, and by subscribing, that means you'll get notified when I post those videos. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking out what my opinion is on this foundation. I love you guys, and I hope that every single one of you out there have a great, freaking awesome, wonderful, beautiful day.